we're going to have a look at the SF2000 once again. Now, has this thing improved since the last time I reviewed it? Well, I tried the 0.06 version of the custom firmware, which it really isn't custom firmware, it's more of a hack on the stock firmware. This time we're going to try 0.09 version of the firmware hack. So the way this works is you have to install the stock firmware version 1.6, then you download the hacked version of the firmware, which is just some tweaked files. You extract them, drag them, drop them onto your SD card, and away you go. And here we are. Now I've got a silent, in fact I'll crank the volume up a bit. I've managed to silence the sounds, which was a personal gripe. I hated that splooshing sound it made when you went between ROMs, so that's resolved that for me. I think I've shown that in a previous video, and that's quite easy to do. It's just a case of copying a few files over. And the other thing I've done is I have installed some Atari Lynx ROMs. Now I haven't set about customising the screen. I know some people have done all that. I've just got them all stored in the ROM section. So I think we'll look at that first, shall we? Just to see what it's like. Now there's a pile of stuff that's bundled in. These are like Pico 08 cores in games, and some of them work and some of them don't, and I've tried a few and I've not had much joy. But let's have a look at some of the games I've installed. So you get these 3 letters at the start, tell you what platform it's on. So the ones that are L and X are my Atari Lynx icons. Now I did set it up and I was showing the icons via the Famicom, and you can create your own custom clip art and that for them as well, which I had done, but we're not going to look at that just now. We're just going to have a quick look at a few Atari Lynx titles, because I've got an Atari Lynx, and I have several Atari Lynx consoles in fact, and I love the Atari Lynx. It's a great old platform, but the screen on it is absolutely terrible. And I thought, well, I don't really like my SF2000 all that much. It's kind of got a similar sort of aspect ratio screen. It's actually quite a nice little screen. One of the highlights of the SF2000. And I have to say, runs pretty well. Let's give it a little go. We'll just try a couple of different games. Now, one of the things I've found is if you push the select button, it rotates the screen, just like you could do on the original Lynx. So, to control, it's left and right on the D-pad. B button to accelerate. And it's actually pretty responsive. Although what I found... what I have found is... I need to play about with the button maps, because pressing these 2 buttons together isn't so easily. That works okay. Let's quit out of that just now. Oops. Mash the 2 buttons together just to get to the screen. What will we try next? A bit of Blue Lightning. That's a game I loved in the day. Now you still get a little bit of this dodgy refresh at the top corner of the screen. Now that's not full diagonal refresh now, because the 0.9 version of the firmware has some performance improvements. So where they're still not quite up to 60 Hz, it's not far away. So this is running pretty well. Now you can see there's still some diagonal there, but this looks pretty good. Now what I am doing is I'm actually playing via my screen, so I'm struggling to see what I'm doing here. Yeah, this plays really pretty well. I should imagine it's like an old 8-bit. Yeah, this is running not bad at all. Not bad at all. Let's come out of that. And then we're going to go back. What I am going to say is, this is actually quite a bit more responsive, you know, going between the different platforms. So that's a definite improvement over the stock operating system. And oops, long way to continue these updates. Still no solid custom firmware. We'll try and come out of here. I'm going to test the game that I get a lot of heat for testing, but I don't really care. We're going to go down to Super Mario Yoshi's Island. I have to say it's a bit more responsive here as well, going between these different screens. So I have to say it's not bad at all. Now actually, what am I doing? I have actually set up some favourites, so why shouldn't I just go there? Favourites. Well, I've actually set up one favourite because I have rebooted this thing a lot of times recently. Now, diagonal, flicker and refresh is still there. We're never going to get away from that, I don't think. If we do, we might be able to minimise it a bit. I doubt they're going to completely reduce it now. Still quite a lot of audio stuttering there. But, credit where it's due. This is running a little bit better than it was. Now, warning, this is going to start flickering quite badly in a moment, so just if you're affected by this, just be aware that the screen is going to start flickering. As soon as we get the pop-up window on screen. There you go. Now, it looks less to the camera right now. You can see there's like a line rotating rather than the whole black and white shutter thing that was happening before. But when I look at it, I can see it's still flickering a bit more than what's picking up on the screen. Well, it's definitely an improvement. So this is because I've ran a different core now, it's ran a multi-core update, I think it is, or if I turn it off and back on, which we'll do just now and I'll show you what I mean. Give us a second to boot back up. If I load up this game now, it'll be a lot worse. So let's just get to the favourites. Okay. There you'll see it now. The flickering is much worse. Here we go. So that's what we're used to seeing, this horrible refreshing. But if we mash out of the game and load up from my game list, one of these alternative games, just any old game will do it. Once that's loaded up, it'll do the multi-core update. Okay, that's good enough. We can quit out of there now. Go back into favourites, load up Super Mario, and you'll see the refresh is improved. Still not perfect, but it has improved. Okay, here we go. As you see, we've got less of an issue now. Still not nice, but it's less of an issue. But what I really wanted to show you here, which I think is an improvement, once we get past this bit. So that shows they're getting close to 60 Hz. I think if they can get this little the displays at 60 Hz, if they can get the CPU running at 60 Hz or output at 60 Hz, we'll lose this completely. So fingers crossed for the people that are developing on this. I wish them the best of luck. Now, first thing you should notice here, is the audio's at full speed. First thing I noticed. Now it's still not perfect. Still not running at 60 Hz. But it's much more usable than it was. And we're not getting the same level of slowdown we were getting before. Still with the occasional screen flickers, as you see that there. My problem here is I'm looking at this on my mobile phone screen rather than the actual directly on the screen. But you see, we've still got some horrible flicker in there, but usually when you got that horrible flickering, you would then also get a corresponding slowdown. And we're not getting that now. So this performance is probably about 50% better than it was before. There's a little bit of a slowdown there. But it comes back to life pretty quick. Wow, Yoshi's quite irritating, isn't he? But Yoshi, it's not Yoshi that's irritating, it's the baby Mario that's irritating. Now, audio is slowing down here at this point, but the game itself still feels like it's running okay. Oh my god. Now if you go back and look at any of my previous videos, you'll see this is running considerably better than it was before. Still not perfect by any means, but considerably better than it was before. So, there you have it. Firmware hack 0.09. It makes the SF2000 a little bit better than it was before. Still not perfect, but a little bit better than it was before. So, the real question is, would I now recommend you buy this? And my answer is still no. The price of these seems to be climbing at the moment. So, if you can get one for less than $20, that's up to you, but it's really not meant for the novice. There's some pretty hardcore mucking about you have to do to get stuff working. I haven't even set up any custom screens. There's not a huge amount of help online other than the Retro Handhelds Discord group. And in there seems to be some pretty hardcore modders. They're more interested in squeezing everything out and less interested in creating guides for mere plebs to follow like myself. But it's definitely better than it was. If you have no money to invest and this is all you can afford, well, you're going to have to accept it's going to need a lot of tinkering to get it working anywhere near decent. But, okay, Super Famicom, write that one off. But things like Atari Lynx and that are now possible, and that's probably worth having a go, because I found the performance of them was pretty close to full speed, pretty close. As we know, it doesn't run at 60 Hz, but it's pretty close. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.